What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. And we could be heading for a government shutdown here in just a few days, as there's a big controversy over a massive bill that relates to your gas and energy prices, over a major permitting bill that's Senator Joe Manchin is fighting for. That's right. And they're going to tie this to a government shutdown bill that Senator Joe Manchin is trying to get his Republican friends to vote for because some of his Democratic friends are against it, like Senator Bernie Sanders. Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on here right now. And there's going to be a government shutdown here in a few days if they can't get this done, which is September 30th at midnight. So at the end of this month, which is only a few days away. Time is ticking. Yeah, so here is Senator Joe Manchin with this massive bill. Some of this, the reason why Republicans don't want to vote for this, even though this is something that they have long been wanting, permitting reform for the gas and oil industry, which would help lower prices actually. And it's also for the green energy industry, things like solar, wind, nuclear. It would help permitting go through faster. But the reason why Republicans are against it is because of a deal that Joe Manchin made with the reconciliation package, which Republicans were against. A lot of in principle because Democrats passed it on their own without Republican votes. So just kind of in principle, there was actually some things in there that Republicans would have voted for if it was standalone bills. But because it was through a reconciliation package, all the Republicans voted against it. Similar to the 2017 bill, the Trump tax cuts, where Republicans passed their own reconciliation bill, all on the Republican votes, and all the Democrats voted no. So Republicans are like, we're not sure if we want to help Joe Manchin with this, even though permitting to help the oil and gas industry, which would in theory lower prices, or in theory it could make the oil and gas industry billions of dollars more money. Here's the details on this. Take a listen, and then I'll tell you why Senator Bernie Sanders is against this, and you can make your decision. Or we could have a government shutdown. Take a listen.
Joe Manchin struck a deal with Chuck Schumer last month to pass Democrats' climate, health, and tax bill. It came with a price. That price to reform the tedious federal permitting process for new energy projects. But now that deal is facing stiff opposition from both progressives and staunch Republicans. And now Schumer's trying to find a way to keep his promise to Manchin while avoiding a potential government shutdown. This is all tied together. Joining us now from West Virginia, Senator Joe Manchin, also chair of the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee. Senator, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Good to be with you, Shannon.
Okay, so let's start with the Wall Street Journal's assessment of what's actually in the deal. Of course, you would get significant benefits to the Mountain Valley Pipeline, very important from West Virginia to the southeast. But they say this, it creates new regulatory risks for fossil fuels, which is the opposite of what he promised. Mr. Manchin had political leverage, but the bill shows he traded his vote on the cheap. Did you, Senator?
Absolutely not. The article's not accurate, and we have a reply. The reply will be going back in tomorrow, and it'll go in tomorrow to Wall Street Journal, so you'll be able to see the reply, and basically answering every one of the things which they basically have evaluated wrongly. But this is a chance in a lifetime for us to have energy independence, Shannon, for us to have security in this nation, which we need, and making sure that we can take care of the American people with lower energy prices, producing more oil, producing more gas. But we have to have permitting reform if you're going to deliver it. You have no way of infrastructure to deliver it. So everyone knows that. My Republican friends know that.
They do. And your Republican colleague and friend there in West Virginia, your fellow senator, Shelley Moore Capito, has offered her own piece. She did that also as an amendment to the reconciliation bill. You didn't vote for that amendment. If permitting was so important, why not vote for it then when she offered it?
Well, hers is a messaging bill, and we understand that. And the reconciliation, basically, we have a process that we're using, and I'm happy to say that Shelley, my friend Shelley Moore Capito, we work together. We put our country and our state before our political parties. She's totally supportive of my approach. Basically, has incorporated many of the things that she and 46 other Republican senators also have endorsed and agree. I just hope we can come together as Americans and forget about our party, the party politics that's going on, and make this opportunity a reality that gives us security for our nation, that gives us independence, and be able to lower the gas prices, lower the energy prices in America, and help our allies around the world.
Well, certainly you understand why Republicans don't think they should be the ones to come across the aisle to vote for a measure that primarily benefits you, which was done in exchange for your vote on a measure they didn't support, like a single one of them vote for the Inflation Reduction Act. Politico says this, they're quoting Senator John Cornyn, a top Republican, given what Senator Manchin did on the reconciliation bill, it's engendered a lot of bad blood. There's not a lot of sympathy on our side to provide Senator Manchin a reward. So how can you expect them to vote for this now?
Shannon, this is not about me. My Republican friends, I've been working for 12 years with them, and I know their number one item that they've had, and number one priority they've had is permitting reform. We can't build anything in America. It takes 5 to 10 years. The developed world takes 1 to 3 years. And why should we be so far behind the developed world to bringing products to market, to be able to have the infrastructure to move energy around? And we're asking people around the world to do things for us we won't do for ourselves. My Republican friends know exactly where we are. This is not about the previous legislation. This is something, a high priority that we have for our country. It's a time in history. If we don't, Shannon, take advantage of this and come together as Americans, we're going to look back 5, 10 years from now and wonder why we're not able to meet the demands, why we're allowing Putin to kind of control dictate the energy policies. And what we're trying to respond to and not able to do it in a timely fashion because we can't move the energy in America. Whether it's going to be new transmission lines for renewables or basically for fossil and oil and gas that moves the products we need today. That's what this is about. And we need to come together as Americans.
Okay, so Senator Capito has said she would support your measure. She will vote for it. Would you vote for hers if yours doesn't move and hers is offered as a separate measure?
Well, hers, if it was the Republicans, and she knows that, if the Republicans were in the majority, I'm the only Democrat that's ever voted for really, truly permitting reform. There was only one vote for my friend Dan Sullivan in his reform. And if they were in control, I would do as I've been doing for the last 12 years. I would vote for permitting reform. I'm asking them to take the opportunity that you finally have to make something happen in America, that we can deliver energy that we need, to lower gas prices at the pump, to lower energy prices in your home, and be able to take care and keep ourselves secure and independent, and be able to help our people in Europe who are hurting very badly, and allowing Putin to put this absolutely using energy as a weapon. And it's just unbelievable that we're in this position right now with what Putin is doing, and the world is changing, of what he's doing and the carnage he's putting upon the people of Ukraine, innocent men and women.
Yes, absolutely.
We have to respond.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. It's reprehensible. And people in this country do want energy independence. There are those who want to try to balance that against, the climate protections as well. But you've got to convince not only Republicans, but Democrats within your own party as well. So let's talk about some of them. A group of 8 senators sent a letter to the Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, said no way this measure should be tied to the funding bill. We run out of money at the federal government next week. They said, we believe such important issues should be examined through detailed committee consideration and a robust floor debate separate from the urgent need to see the government stays open. Their letter outlines their worries. They're progressive. They're worried about the climate. And they say your measure would actually disproportionately hurt low-income Americans and communities of color if it does get passed.
Shannon, let me just be very clear and very honest with you. I never expected Bernie Sanders and the far extreme left to ever be for any permitting. They've never been for permitting reform. That's why we've never had it. This is one time when overwhelmingly Democrats in both the House and the Senate are supporting. And for my Republican friends not to see that, which I know they do, and not be able to pass something they've been unable to do for 12 years since I've been working with them, it would be basically a lost moment in history if we don't do this. So I'm hoping that they will look at what we have in front of us. The energy independence, security, stopping Putin dead in his tracks, being able to do what we need to reduce the price of energy, and helping people in their home as far as energy costs there. We have a golden opportunity, and we have a majority, overwhelming majority of Democrats supporting it. And they're doing it because this is the right time and the right thing to do for our country. But also it's a time that we basically can bring Democrats and Republicans together, as we've done with the bipartisan infrastructure bill. We've done it with the CHIPS bill. We continue to do things when we need to do something for our country. This is the most important thing that we could do today, and it's the most critical problem we have in front of us, which is energy independence and security.
So as you look to try to get those votes together from both sides of the aisle, here's something that Senator Kennedy, Republican out of Louisiana, had to say this week about this whole thing.
I'm just a little surprised. Joe's been around here a long time, and he's he's my friend, but he's a savvy politician. He made a deal without having all the ducks in a row. I'm not even sure they know where the ducks are right now.
Did you miscalculate on the ducks, Senator?
No, John's my dear friend. What a great person. I just enjoy him very much. And the thing, we have good conversations. When they say they weren't involved, everything I've done for the last 12 years working with my Republican colleagues has been incorporated in this. We have talked about it, worked about it, so they have tremendous amount of input in this, but the process has come down to where party line vote, which is unfortunate, but it is what we're dealing with in a toxic political atmosphere. But I can assure you, everybody, we've tried to take everyone's input on this, and my Republican friends' input is in this piece of legislation. So I'm just hoping that, and I'm very optimistic, that we have the opportunity, they realize this opportunity that will never pass again in our lifetime.
Okay, so let me...
When they had everything, when they, in 2016 to 2020, Shannon, they had Republican president, Republican House, Republican Senate. We couldn't move it because I was the only Democrat. Now we're in a position where we have a majority of Democrats, and our Republican friends can take it across the goal line.
We'll see if they do. This all traces back to your vote on the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. The Penn-Wharton budget model and the CBO both found that it had a statistically just negligible effect on inflation. Right now, Americans are continuing to pay more for everything, including just groceries. We looked at August to August, 13.5% jump last week. And then the markets are plunging, and there's this headline. Billionaire investor Carl Icahn warns the worst is yet to come for investors and compares U.S. inflation to the fall of the Roman Empire. So, what regrets do you have at this point in voting for the Inflation Reduction Act, which hasn't cooled things off? It's not projected to short-term or long-term, in exchange for this deal now that may not actually go anywhere on energy?
Inflation is horrible, and it's extremely damaging to our economy, and it's damaging to every West Virginian and every American. So we have to fight inflation. The Inflation Reduction Act basically, first of all, puts more energy back in the market. So if you want to reduce prices, then put more product out there. If you want to get your gasoline prices down, produce more oil. If you want to get your home heating in that, produce more natural gas. Do it cleaner than anywhere in the world. Replace the dirty energy around the world. And that basically helps the climate and gives us more product. When you reduce basically the Medicare prices of drugs, in West Virginia, 300,000 West Virginians rely on Medicare. We're reducing their pricing on drugs, so that has to reduce it. When they're saying it's negligible, they're going to see it in the next 30 days? No. Will they see it? Absolutely they will see it, because this does nothing but gives us a chance to reduce inflation. And, I worked very hard to make sure we had an opportunity to be energy independent, secured, fight Putin's war. I understood that Bernie Sanders and my left wing of the Democratic Party would never support anything that would let us be energy independent with the energy we have in our own country.
Now, the reason why Senator Bernie Sanders and some other progressive Democrats don't like the permitting reform, it's not that they don't like it. or there's reasons for it. It's not that they don't want to see lower gas prices. It's for specific reasons here. I'll go up here. Senator Bernie Sanders, I was already reading this, prepared remarks here from a few weeks ago. Senator Bernie Sanders gives floor remarks on climate disasters and the Mountain Valley Pipeline, which is one thing that could be approved from this permitting reform. So they're already saying that there would be projects that would be pushed through that shouldn't be pushed through permitting reform. Things like the Mountain Valley Pipeline. And I get that some people want to see some things like this, some people don't. And that's why I like to show you guys both sides of the story here. You got to hear Joe Manchin's side of the story. Here's Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders says, Mr. President, I rise this morning to express my strong opposition to this so-called side deal that the fossil fuel industry is pushing to make it easier for them to pollute the environment and destroy the planet. But before I do, let me put my opposition to this disastrous side deal in a broader context. As a father of 4 and the grandfather of 7, I very much wish that I did not have to say this. But the most serious challenge facing our country and the entire world today, and a way, is the existential threat of climate change. This is not Bernie Sanders talking. This is what the scientific community is telling us in a virtually unanimous voice. This bill would make it easier for the fossil fuel industry to receive permits to complete some of the dirtiest and most polluting oil and gas projects in America. Specifically, this deal would approve the $6.6 billion Mountain Valley Pipeline, a 303-mile fracked gas pipeline spanning from West Virginia to Virginia and potentially onto North Carolina. We're talking about a pipeline that would generate emissions equivalent to 37 coal plants or over 27 million cars each and every year. That's the thing that stuck with me, which is unbelievable. And generally, I don't think that Bernie Sanders is a liar. You can let me know your thoughts, but I mean, if you've listened to Bernie Sanders, the guy seems pretty genuine. So this is why he's opposed to it. And again, you may be you may be saying, hey, permitting reform is a good thing or a bad thing. And again, that's why they vote on this stuff. So it's just a difference of opinion on whether you think they should push this through this pipeline or not, which is totally fine. But what they're saying here is they must have done the EPA study on this, and it says that it is going to generate emissions equivalent to 37 coal plants or over 27 million cars each and every year. So that is why Bernie Sanders and some of the progressive Democrats are against it, is the reason. By the way, that is also the main reason why the other pipeline was shut down when, or one of the reasons why the other pipeline was was stopped. That other pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline, was stopped when Biden came into office. By the way, that there's so many misconceptions about that pipeline. That pipeline was never operational. That pipeline that they wanted to put in, it was a multi-billion-dollar pipeline that would have cost multiple billions of dollars. It was never completed. It would have taken several years to complete and multiple billion dollars. Same type of thing there. Multiple environmentalists, a lot of protesting about it because of the pollution and stuff like this. To me, it's crazy to think that a pipeline would generate that much pollution, but apparently they do. So again, you can let me know your thoughts here on this. This is kind of the pros and cons, or the people that are for this and against this. You can let me know your thoughts here. This is kind of the battles of some of the stuff going on in our country. And when people vote yes or no This is why I like to show you kind of both sides of a lot of this stuff here, and you guys can, this stuff's either going to pass or not. Also, our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody in Florida right now. This massive, massive hurricane, Ian, could become a catastrophic Category 4 hurricane. Florida Governor Ron Desantis declares a state of emergency. They're saying that this hurricane, Ian, is expected to be a Category 3 by Monday night. And as Ian approaches Florida, AccuWeather said the storm could reach Category 4 status, which means sustained winds between 130 miles per hour and 156 miles per hour. And it's going to be a very dangerous major hurricane. Urged residents to load up on food, water, medicine, batteries, and fuel, and said it was too soon to determine whether Ian will make landfall, but that evacuations may be ordered in coming days. Expect heavy rains, strong winds, flash flooding, strong storm surge, and even isolated tornadoes. Make preparations now. Anticipate power outages. That is something that is likely to happen with a hurricane of this magnitude. And you can see this headline here, Hurricane Ian could be something that we haven't seen in our lifetime. So this could be really, really bad. So take precautions now. And we'll keep you in our thoughts and prayers. Let me know down below in the comments section if you're in the storm's path, what you're doing. If you have any friends or family in the storm's path, what you're doing. These are the headlines here. So I know you can't make this stuff up. This is actually happening. So let me know your thoughts. You're in our thoughts and prayers. And hopefully it's not as bad as this is saying, but we'll see. So I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. So make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button, then the bell icon. If you haven't done so yet, it's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to hit the like button for us down below as well. And I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country. Here's a brand new video about Social Security updates and raises. And here's a new video about things coming in this week. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.